Hi there, my name is Ayelet Connell and I'm a paleo and gluten-free chef, and this is an episode of Simply Paleo with me. Today we're going to be making curried chicken salad wraps, the perfect dish for lunch, for dinner, for a treat, for a picnic, for a barbecue, anything of that nature. And we're going to make it on paleo wraps that actually were homemade, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I made that, and then we're going to get into making the curried chicken salad. And today, because I have my panini maker here, we're actually going to crisp it up a little bit. But of course that's not essential. You can always put it in a cast iron skillet and put something heavy over it to try to get it to crisp up a little bit on the outside. Okay, so let's get started. So here I have my bowl. We're going to make our chicken salad, and then we'll set it aside and we'll talk a little bit about the wrap. So I've got some chicken here, and pretty much what I did was I just took a roasted chicken and I took the meat off and I chopped it up. You can make the roasted chicken yourself. You can get a natural whole roasted chicken in one of the local natural grocery stores by you, or you could just take a chicken breast and bake it and chop it up. You can poach it, really any type. When it's roasted, I feel like it's got a little bit more flavor to it, so that might be a little bit more of a better alternative over poaching it. Okay, so we're going to take our measuring cup and we're going to take 2 cups of the chicken and add it into our large bowl. It's always better to have an extra large bowl, even if you don't need all of it. It's just easier when you're stirring things in. So we've got about 2 cups of chicken. We'll set that aside. And then we're going to take about a cup of celery. And this I just chopped into small chunks, but you know, it's really a preference as far as how big you want the celery to be. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we've got some Granny Smith apples, and I like to keep the peel on, but that's really up to you. They're washed, they're organic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it off of the core. If you do this too early, then it can get unfresh, but we're just going to cut off the brown bits. And I have another apple here in case this isn't enough. And but if you do need to make it ahead of time, then you can definitely put a little bit of lemon juice on it to keep it fresh, and then it'll just have a little bit of an added lemon flavor. All right, so we're just going to go through and dice this apple, and we'll talk a little bit about the wrap while I'm doing this. So I made the wrap out of cassava flour, and in particular there's a wonderful company that makes cassava flour called Otto's Naturals, and on the outside of their bag and also on their website they have a fantastic paleo wrap, like a large tortilla wrap recipe. We've used it countless times, not just for this type of a dish where we want to wrap something, but also if we want to have fajitas or, you know, Mexican Tex-Mex cuisine. My kids love it. It is so delicious. So what you do is you take the cassava flour, and that's about 3/4 of a cup of the Otto's cassava flour, and then you add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I like to use sea salt, and you mix that up so that the salt is combined, and then you add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 1/3 of a cup of warm water. And then you knead it. You mix it and you knead it, and you can do it in an electric mixer, which I like to use, or you can just do it by hand until you get a nice ball formed. And it shouldn't be too sticky, but I will say if you're using a tortilla press, you want to use parchment paper on either side of it because it will stick to the tortilla press. All right, so we've got that, and then once you have it, what you do is you roll it out or use a tortilla press into the size and shape that you're wanting, relatively thin, and then you put it on a hot skillet without any oil, just a plain naked hot skillet, and you let it cook for anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes or so on either side. You want the skillet to be good and hot, and you're looking for it to bubble a little bit, but you obviously don't want it to burn. You might get a little bit of that black chard on it, dots, which is fine, but you just want it to cook through, and then you flip it for the same amount of time, and then you keep it warm. And if you make it a little bit ahead of time, sort of earlier in the morning, so to speak, then you just wrap it up really well, and then before you're serving, you can heat it up in the oven on warm. And what I like to do is wrap it in parchment, and then on top of that, wrap it in foil so it seals in the heat, and then you get a nice soft tortilla. So here we got our apples, and this is a diced apple, and as I said, I like to use Granny Smith. So let's get the apple in here. Nice. All right. So there's our apple, and then we're going to add in about a half a cup of almond slivers. Now you can absolutely leave out the nuts if you don't do nuts, or you can exchange a different type of nut if you prefer the flavor or the texture, or just you're sensitive to almonds. And you can also add in raisins. I'm not adding raisins into this recipe, but you certainly can. Some people really like to have that different type of, sort of pasty texture. And then what we're going to do is add in about 3/4 of a cup of mayonnaise. So first we're going to just give this a nice cursory stir to just mix it up. We're going to add in the mayo, and then we'll add in the seasoning. All right, so there we go. All right, so we've got a couple of jars here because they're both sort of partway filled. But I want to make note, this is a paleo mayonnaise, and why that is relevant is because they use healthier oils. So this is made with avocado oil, which is a fantastic source of fat. So we're going to get 3/4 of a cup. So we're most certainly going to finish off this jar. All right. And we're going to open up the other jar. All right, so we have another jar. There's a couple of different companies. One of them is Primal Kitchen. Another one is Chosen Foods. They're both avocado oil mayonnaise. All right, so one's a little bit thicker than the other, but ultimately a very similar list of ingredients. All right, so we've got our mayonnaise we're going to put in. If we need more, we've got a little bit more left here that we can add, but we're going to be putting in about 3/4 of a cup. All right, and set that aside. Set this aside, and then we're going to give it a good toss. And then we're going to add in the seasoning, because this is a curried chicken salad. So of course we got to add in the curry. All right, so we're going to give it a nice toss. Now everybody's got a different preference for how mayonnaise-y they like their chicken salad. So you might decide to start off with less mayo and add in bit by bit, or you might just go for it. And I'm going to show you the texture of this one. All right, and you can decide how big you want your pieces of chicken. Some people like to really have it more of like a paste, and so you might put the whole thing in the food processor and pulse it a couple of times. All right, so now we're going to add in our seasoning. So we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of curry, and there's so many different versions of curry out there. I love the company Penzeys. You can order these online. In my area in West Hartford, Connecticut, there's an actual store. They're fantastic. They're really good quality spices, and they're not excessively expensive, and they have some really nice seasoning blends. Okay, so we're going to put in 1 teaspoon, and this is a sweet curry, which I like. It doesn't mean it's sweetened by anything. It just has less heat and more of that natural sweetness. And you want to just, moderate it. If you're not sure about the flavor or the smell, then you can put in less and then add it in. So we've got that. We're going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And, my chicken was seasoned somewhat, so I don't want to put in too much salt. And then we're going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of cracked pepper. All right, and now we're going to give it a good toss again. Oh, that smell of the curry is wonderful. It's not overpowering because it's just a teaspoon in this large batch of chicken salad, but it gives it a nice yellowy orangey tint and a wonderful fragrance. All right, so let's give it a try to make sure it's at the right point of flavor for us. Let's see. So, That is delicious. It's got perfect amount of crunch because of the apples and the almonds. And it's got wonderful sweetness from the apples, and the celery's in there, that freshness. And the chicken is really flavorful because it was a roasted chicken, as I said. And of course the curry's in there. It's not overpowering, just a nice subtle curry flavor. So we're going to set this aside, move some of these things over. And then we're going to get our tortilla wrap that we talked about how we made that. So we've got it in my foil. So we're going to take it out of the foil. And then inside that you've got the parchment paper. And we've got our wrap that's nice and soft. Do you see? And it's made out of cassava flour. All right. So I'm going to set that aside. And what we're going to do is build our tortilla. So we've got chicken salad, curried chicken salad, got a little bit of avocado, and we've also got some beautiful baby bib lettuce that we're going to be adding in. So why don't we get some of the avocado in there. So we're going to take our pit out that has just been sitting here waiting for us. Do really thin slivers. We don't want to overfill this tortilla. All right. So let's see here. We're just going to build it in. Put the slivers of avocado down. And I'm going to be splitting this with my husband as he gets home pretty soon for lunch. So I want to make sure that it's equally built on one side versus the other. All right, so we've got our avocado. We're going to spread out. I might get one more sliver in there. All right, perfect. So, and that looks fabulous. And now we're going to put in some of our chicken salad. There we go. And again, I want to make sure this isn't overfilled, but I want to have a nice tortilla. All right, and then we'll put some lettuce here. Beautiful baby bib lettuce, which is really lovely to look at too, with a really nice red tint to the leaves. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this up, and then we're going to get it into our panini maker. And you want to make sure it's nice and tight. And we'll get our panini maker open, and in it goes. Try not to burn yourself. And there you go. And then let's let it sit in there for a moment. And such delicious. We want to give it, enough time to crisp up. And so as we're waiting, I'll just say a little bit again about the Otto's cassava flour. So if you go onto their blog, onto their website, you'll find that they have the tortilla recipe on there. And again, it's 3/4 cup of the Otto's natural cassava flour with a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Mix that up and then add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 1/3 cup of warm water. You might find you need a little bit more water and oil. You can add in a tablespoon at a time. It doesn't matter so much, but just get it kneaded into the right texture. It shouldn't be too sticky. Then roll it out between parchment paper, or you can use a tortilla press, but then use parchment paper on either side so it doesn't stick. And then you use a very hot skillet at medium to high heat. No oil on it, just naked. And you put the tortilla down for, 1 to 3 minutes on either side until it starts to bubble a little bit. Be careful because it's going to be a really hot pan, and then you can take it off and either use it right away, or you can put it in parchment and then foil over that and just keep it nice and warm, or you can just put it in the fridge that way and then put it in the oven wrapped up in that manner to warm it up before you're ready to serve it. And you can use it for things like this. You can make them smaller and just use them as sort of like soft tortillas for tacos, for fajita night, however you want to do it. Lots of options. So let's see where we're at with the panini, or the tortilla, I should say, is nice and crispy. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so let's just get this off of my panini maker. Okay, let's see. We're going to cut this in half and see what we got going on here. All right. It's a little hot, so we'll let it cool down for just a moment, and then we're going to do a little taste test. Okay, ready? Let's see. That is divine. You've got the softness of the tortilla with the crispiness on the outside from the panini maker. The delicious textures, robust textures of the curried chicken salad with the softness of the roasted chicken with a beautiful flavor. And the crispiness of the celery and the apple with its also sweetness. And you've got the almonds in there that are nice and crunchy, and then all the seasoning and the mayonnaise. It's just delicious. And then you can taste the creaminess of the avocado and that freshness of the lettuce. You get the perfect pairing for a tortilla. So I hope you try this recipe at home. Really simple. You could just use this recipe for the curried chicken salad and not have it wrapped up in anything, or you can give it a try and make the tortillas as well. But I hope you try it. And as always, I love to hear from you. Any questions you have or any cravings or wish lists of things you'd love to learn how to make in the paleo way, just check me out on my blog at www.simplypaleo.com and send me a line. And I hope you tune in again. Thanks so much.